WCBI News at 10 starts now.
North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper tours some of the hardest hit areas along the coast. Good evening. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Victoria Bailey. Some roads still underwater with no way into some towns. WCBI Scott Martin spoke with Governor today, who says they're still in rescue and recovery mode.
Families begin to pick up the pieces after devastating floodwaters tear through North Carolina. Saturday, Governor Roy Cooper gets a first-hand look at the destruction in Brunswick and Columbus counties.
You saw houses and businesses underwater. You saw the Sanford Dam just breached.
A week after Hurricane Florence made landfall, water is still rising in some areas.
We have 12 river gauges at major flood stage and 3 more at moderate flood stage.
Hundreds of people rescued by boat. Tragically, the death toll now up to 32 after a person was killed while working to remove trees. Many more folks now left without a place to call home. And finding permanent housing is something Governor Cooper says will be challenging.
Right after Matthew, the legislature decided to move the Community Development Block Grant Disaster Relief funding from Commerce to the Department of Emergency Management, which has really not been used to doing longer-term housing.
Cooper says he's spoken to the president on the issue and is hoping the president keeps his word when it comes to federal help.
But I believe that we can consolidate, and if we can get the flexibility and the promises of federal help that we have heard over the last few days, then I think we can make a quick recovery.
As folks begin to come back home and find a sense of normalcy, many are depending on the help of area charities. Donna Norris says a lot of places just haven't reopened.
Just trying to find some food, milk. It's kind of tough right now. Yeah.
Several distribution centers are set up across North Carolina where people can come and get things like diapers, soap, dog food, canned food, anything that they might need. And get this, the North Carolina National Guard has helped over 6,000 families. And walk with me here, look at this. The cars, the trucks, they keep lining up here at this distribution center.
I mean, words can't even describe of how much we're thankful.
Yeah. They've been great.
Yes.
Been great.
Reporting in Brunswick County, North Carolina, Scott Martin, WCBI News.
Now, thousands still remain without power. Governor Cooper says Hurricane Florence has brought to his attention the need for infrastructure repair and more housing in the state. Well, on Friday, the faculty of the University of Mississippi School of Journalism and New Media called for Dr. Ed Meek to request to remove his name from the school. And today, Meek responded. He released a statement saying that, in part, I have asked the University of Mississippi to remove my name from the school. This past week, I made a post on Facebook that reflected poorly on myself, the school, and our university. It was never my intention to cast the problems of our community that we face as racial issues. I particularly apologize to those depicted in the photos I posted. I recognize that the attachment of my name to the school, and it was that in my mind made me make the request. People from all over the area attended a job fair at EMCC today for a brand new Pecos food facility that is set to open soon. Our Riley Livingston was there and has more.
Pico Foods took over EMCC's Mayhew campus Saturday for a job fair.
So we're doing a career fair, which isn't uncommon for us, but it is the first one for West Point. But being that Brooksville, one of our other facilities, is about 28 miles away, we're actually combining the two. So see if we can't just not do placements for West Point, but we also fill some of our open positionings over at Brooksville.
Potential hopefuls turned out in droves looking for a new career.
We had an awesome turnout today. We actually had to readjust on the fly due to the crowd that came in. So I had to bring some of my people in from Brookville, some of the management team to help out today.
The new jobs offered by Pico Foods is a big deal for the West Point community. After Brian's Food packed up and left, West Point's economy has struggled. But with Yokohama and Pico Foods, it is starting to look up again.
Yeah, so it's really exciting when we are looking for where is the next location for us to build a facility at. We laid eyes on a building that had enough acreage where we can build a new plant, but also give us the ability to bring jobs back to West Point. The community of West Point is really taking a hit. You know, so we look that we're bringing jobs back to West Point, but we're also bringing money back into the community for the local business shops.
Management also had the chance to talk to the community about PECO's future plans.
We can go ahead and wrap up some of the speculations that's been going around, you know, whether this is going to be a harvest facility, whether we're going to have rendering, you know, we can clear up some of those rumor mills and educate the community, but also educate the potential candidates as far as what exactly that we do.
Now, for those who missed the fair, it isn't too late. PECO Foods will be continuing to accept applications for both locations. It's time now for a first look at our forecast with meteorologist Jacob Raleigh. Hey, Jacob.
Hey, Victoria, we do have a couple of showers and storms out there to talk about right now, especially across the Golden Triangle region. We have this heavier batch of rain that's been impacting our area over the last couple of hours. We did see that heavy rain move through Starkville earlier. It's currently moving through West Point, and it's starting to pop up here just south of town in Columbus, so we'll be hearing those raindrops hit in a couple of minutes. And it has moved up to Tupelo as well, where they're getting heavy rainfall up there as well. They had some earlier today, so this rain is going to continue as we go on into tomorrow as well. Now, today is the first day of fall, and that means that every location on Earth sees a full 12 hours a day and a full 12 hours of night. Now, as we continue to go throughout the year, our daylight hours will decrease and those nights will become longer. Victoria?
Thanks a lot, Jacob. Well, Boy Scouts from all over the area are spending the weekend camping and earning merit badges on East Mississippi Community College campus in Mayhew. Now, more than 100 scouts, along with a dozen adult volunteers, are participating in this weekend's annual area fall CAMPOREE. EMCC is hosting the event and also providing instructors to teach scouts in 15 different merit badge areas. Now, over the weekend, scouts will earn badges in electronics, robotics, cooking, landscaping, architecture, and that's just to name a few. The Pushmataha Area Council holds 2 CAMPOREEs a year, one in the fall and one in the spring.
This gives the opportunity for both leadership. These young men come out, they're camping for the weekend, so they've got to set up their own site, cook, clean, be leaders of their fellow scouts, but as well as the achievement in learning and goal setting by coming out here earning these awards.
Participating scouts are from counties all over the area. Well, the 71st Annual Air Force Ball was held this evening at the Trotter Convention Center in downtown Columbus. The event consisted of a social hour, formal dinner, and a ceremony commemorating prisoners of war and those missing in action. Now, more than 400 airmen from the Columbus Air Force Base gathered to celebrate 77 years of community support.
Additionally to that, we're celebrating the community. We understand they played a big role in us being here. We literally would not be here without them.
This year's theme was for the birthday ball was Panthers in Progress since 1941. The guest speaker for the night was retired Major General Jack J. Cotton, Jr. Well, the Friendly City continues to serve as a battleground for the annual Roast and Boast barbecue competition, and today's tradition continues.
The smell of barbecue filled the Columbus Lowndes County Fairgrounds Saturday for the annual Roast and Boast cooking competition.
We have 35 teams. We have 18 pro teams, 17 backyard teams, going for a total of $11,000 purse that we have today. So it's big money involved, and we are a charitable event. The monies that we raise here, we donate to St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital in Memphis. Very worthwhile cause. It's actually very near and dear to our hearts.
The judges as well as the contestants come from all over the South, and the judges are barbecue connoisseurs. Backyard competition team, the Sweet Racks and Spicy Chicks, decided this year they were throwing their hats into the ring.
Yeah, this is our first year. Our husbands wanted us to break out, so we're going to do it.
The ladies say they are excited to join the competition.
Just get our chicken ready and our meat ready and just try to do the best we can to, get it right.
But they are more excited to give back to the children.
We have planned on giving $100 away, been selling tickets for $1. So far we've waived $700 for St. Jude. It just brings us together as friends and family and do it for the kids. I mean, that's all about the children.
Now the winners of the competition were announced at 5 this afternoon. Well, Governor Kay Ivey speaks more from, we'll hear more from her after the break.
You're watching WCBI News at 10 with Victoria Bailey.
Welcome back, everyone. The woman who accuses Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh of an attempted sexual assault decades ago agreed today to tell her story to a Senate committee. Wcbi has more from President Trump's weekend White House in New Jersey.
U.S. Marshals escorted Judge Brett Kavanaugh out of his Maryland home today, a rare glimpse of the Supreme Court nominee since Dr. Christine Blasey Ford accused him of sexual assault. Both say they've recently received death threats. This afternoon, Dr. Ford's attorney sent a letter to the Senate Judiciary Committee agreeing to provide a first-hand account of her experience with Kavanaugh next week. It is unclear what form any potential testimony would take. Those terms are still under negotiation.
He was born for the U.S. Supreme Court.
Even without a hearing, President Trump has already indicated who he believes.
We have to fight for him, not worry about the other side. And by the way, women are for that more than anybody would understand.
The president unloaded his frustration toward Ford on Twitter Friday, writing, if the allegation was as bad as she says, either her or her loving parents would have filed charges immediately. Mr. Trump also criticized Democrats for their handling of the claims, accusing them of trying to obstruct and resist and delay Kavanaugh's confirmation. Today, Vice President Pence echoed the complaint.
But honestly, the way some Democrats have conducted themselves during this process is a disgrace and a disservice to the Senate and the American people.
Democrats are pushing back and blaming the GOP for bullying Ford. Senator Bob Casey tweeted, there should be a proper FBI background investigation and then a hearing instead of this unnecessary rush.
A White House official tells CBS News they do not view Dr. Ford's letter as an agreement to testify, but rather another attempt to drag out the process, adding Judge Kavanaugh is, quote, chomping at the bit to testify. Weijia Zhang, CBS News, Berkeley Heights, New Jersey.
With Labor Day behind us, that means fall election campaign season is in full swing. One person on the campaign trail is Alabama Governor Kay Ivey. Now, she served as the Grand Marshal of the 44th Annual Mule Day Festival Parade in Winfield, Alabama today. Ivey will face off against Democrat Walt Maddox on November the 6th.
Well, I can't solve the nation's problems. I've got my hands full working with Alabamians, and we've got them back at work and more working today than ever before in the state's history, and I plan to keep that up.
In 1998, that was the last time Alabama elected a Democratic governor.
Well, those showers and storms are impacting the community for festival here in Tupelo, Mississippi right now. Temperatures are sitting in the 70s across much of the area. I'll have more on how long this rain is going to last coming up after the break.
Your first alert forecast with meteorologist Jacob Riley.
Well, good Saturday evening. We have had some showers and storms move across our area. Earlier today, we did have this pretty heavy rainstorm move through Louisville. See a few flashes of lightning associated with it. It did drop some pretty heavy rain there in downtown while it was there, and that's all thanks to this upper-level low-pressure system that's located over the Arklatex that's going to continue to push over towards our area as we go throughout the remainder of the week. But right now out there, we do still have some showers across portions of the Golden Triangle region all the way up north towards Tupelo, and those will continue into the overnight hours, and then they will increase as we go throughout your day on Sunday. But for tonight, those clouds will hang around. We'll have some showers here and there as well. Then as we go throughout the early morning hours of Sunday, we will have some showers, but those will really become more numerous as we head into the afternoon hours. You see here along the Interstate 55 corridor, they're really beginning to pop up around the lunchtime, and then as we go into the evening, they will push further east, bringing much of us a good shot at rain for your Sunday evening. So That rain is here to stick around for a little while. I don't expect it to go anywhere anytime soon. But over the next 24 hours, we could see some pretty decent rainfalls, especially along northern and western portions of our area. Some locations could pick up between ½ an inch to upwards of an inch between now and Monday morning. But for your Sunday, we will see those showers and storms keep our temperatures a little bit cooler than what we've been seeing. 79 degrees for your high there in Oxford, 83 for your high there in Houston. So the rain is going to help us feel a little more seasonable now that we are in the fall months. But across the Golden Triangle region, we will stay a little bit warmer as well. Highs there in the 80s for much of the region. So another more comfortable day, but due to the rain, it's going to be still pretty muggy out there, so not too comfortable just yet. But we are going to keep those rain chances pretty high, around 40% tomorrow, but we will top out again in the middle to upper 80s across portions of western Alabama. Now, as we go throughout the remainder of the week, that low pressure system is going to push its way over northeastern Mississippi and kind of just hang out for a little bit, and that's why we're going to see those rain chances stay with us through all of this next week. And as this cold front begins to move in on Tuesday on into Wednesday, we will see those rain chances increase with it as well. Now, we were expecting some cooler temperatures. We are still going to see some more seasonable temperatures, but not as cold as what we were originally expecting. This trough was expected to dip a little bit lower than what it is showing now, so we were expecting highs in the upper 70s to lower 80s, but now it looks like those highs are going to be hanging out in the middle 80s. And for your next 7 days, those rain chances are going to stick around and remain pretty high through Wednesday. As we go into next weekend, those rain chances will begin to fade off and highs return to the middle 80s.
The Ole Miss Rebels were back at home again today and looking for a comeback win. Those highlights with Courtney next in sports.
WCBI Sports with Courtney Robb.
The Ole Miss Rebels continuing its 3-game homestand against Kent State today. Today's game, really a chance for Ole Miss to show that it's improved after the struggles it's had these past few weeks. Although they were the favorites in this game, it still took the Rebels a little bit too long until they would finally get things going. But don't worry, things would get going. Ole Miss in Vaught Hemingway Stadium today. And early on, Jordan Tamu, he'll find Scotty Phillips out in the flats. And that man has reservations for 6. He's going to take it 38 yards in for the score. Ole Miss goes on the board early, 7-0. Kent State's turn now. Woody Barrett back to pass. He's going to get sacked by Markel Winters. So the Rebels defense also showing up today. Good to see them. Kent State down 7-0. Barrett throws to Cavius Price, and Price throws it into the end zone. Finds Joel Shaw for the score, and the Golden Flashes tie the game up at 7 going into halftime. But Tamu back now finds A.J. Brown way downfield inside the Kent State 5-yard line. That's going to be good enough to set up this next play. Scotty Phillips is going to get the handoff here. He goes in 2 yards out for the score. Rebels take a 14-7 lead. Some good momentum going, and Ole Miss is going to get back on offense. Tamu back to pass, throws way downfield. It's going to connect with DK Metcalf as he gets the one-handed catch for a 41-yard score. Rebels taking the lead even more, 21-10. But now Tamu, he's going to be on the QB keeper here, rolls it in for 4 yards into the house, gets the score. Lead extended 31-7, just racking up those points. But the game would go into lightning delay in the fourth quarter. That delay went on for almost 2 hours. The Rebels would come back out and score a TD right away. Ole Miss not letting Alabama beat them twice. Rebels get the win 38-17. What they really wanted out of today's game. Coach Matt Luke, proud of the team's fight, sees this win as momentum the team can use going forward.
Proud of the kids, bouncing back, getting up off the mat, going to get a win. Defense played really well in the first half. They had 7 sacks in the first half, so happy to see them have some success that we can build off of. So proud of that.
A win is everything to us, and like Coach Luke said, we can either bounce back from last week or hide in the corner. And I believe our whole team came out swinging, and especially in the second half, everybody knew what we was playing for. Everybody knew the Alabama game was gone, and it's time to move forward. And it's just one win at a time. And it started with this week. It started with the training, started with practice, and getting a W.
One Mississippi team down, one more to go. Mississippi State on the road today to open SEC play against Kentucky. Would they be able to head into Lexington and pick up a win tonight? Maybe not. Struggling a little bit on the road. We'll have highlights, though, coming up next for you in sports. Stick with us. Once again, Kroger Field proved to be a challenge for the Mississippi State Bulldogs. And although the day started off with high expectations for the ranked state team, those would slowly dwindle on down once the third quarter happened. Now, the last time that State went to play on the Wildcats turf, they returned home with a loss. Now, would that be the same thing to get today? The Wildcats were looking for that outcome as they're kind of getting underneath their skin early on, but Nick Fitzgerald starting things off on a high note, keeps it, takes it in for the 1-yard touchdown. State goes up 7-0, but Benny Snell runs it up the middle for the 2-yard TD. Going to tie it at 7 going into halftime there. And it'd be all Kentucky from here. Snell runs it in for the 1-yard TD. Bulldogs having a tough time containing Snell today. We'll see that here on that next play. He's going to take it 36 yards, break out, and into the end zone for the touchdown. Kentucky would go up 21-7 late in the game, and the security blanket would only continue on for the Wildcats from there. Snell, he's going to break on loose and get it in again for the 23-yard touchdown. The Bulldogs would end up starting SEC play with a loss, 28-7. Not exactly the way that the Bulldogs wanted for it to go on the road. And the team will return home the next few games, and it's only getting tougher from here on out. They're going to be taking on Florida next week, followed by Auburn, so that performance is really going to want to pick up going forward if the Bulldogs are hoping to continue a good SEC stretch, getting wins and keeping up that ranked expectation there, especially for fans since the expectations have been so high. But that's going to be it for sports. We'll have your last look coming up after the break. Stick with us.
Last look at your 7-day forecast. Those highs will stay in the middle 80s. They could even drop to the lower 80s as we go into the end of next week. Those rain chances, though, they are going to stay around. So definitely keep your umbrella on standby because it's going to be a wet couple of days.
I see that. Thanks a lot, Jacob. And thank you guys so much for joining us. We'll see you next time.